how to retract your brake calipers with VCDS. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. On today's upload, we're gonna be addressing one of the #1 things that you as a DIYer and a, self-taught auto mechanic probably know how to do on a Volkswagen. And that's gonna be brake replacement with electronic calipers. So let's dive straight into it. I've already done the Popeye Sailor intro, did the thing, said hi. You guys know what we're here for. So let's get straight into what's going on. Electronic brake calipers are kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so just get it out of the air. I know some of you guys are like, oh, Jack, electronic calipers, no big deal. 9-volt battery, flip, you're good, right? Well, I'm not gonna talk about that, and that's the only thing you're really gonna hear from me about it. Why? Because it's possible to screw things up. 100% possible. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, you can. That's a risk you can take, and Google it and you can find information on how to use a 9-volt battery to do retract your rear brake calipers. But I'm not going to tell you anymore. We're going to go over in this video is the method of how to use VCDS, where to find it, and how to kind of do the service stuff with this. Also, let's identify real quick whether or not you have electronic calipers. Very, very clever. It's got a plug back here and it looks like a giant chunk of plastic mounted to the back of your aluminum brake caliper. You guys will see this a little bit better with the wheel off, so we'll probably should take the wheel off real quick. There we go. And we lowered the car a little bit. So, oh, I keep stabbing myself. Where is it? It is, let's give us some extra light here. Move this around. This is your brake caliper. That is the electronic caliper motor. Don't take the motor off. Bad idea. Just isn't indicative of what you want to get done. They crack really, really easy, so don't hit them with a hammer. I've cracked them, sold a couple to people that have cracked them, and they're not cheap. We're talking this caliper is in the neighborhood, I think, of like $300 to $600. Damn! Right? Like, it's not a cheap fix if you screw it up. So keep that in mind. Try not to do any of those things I just mentioned. That said, what do we do about it? How do we address it? How do we make sure that it's not going to be a problem? Well, you need VCDS or you need some other scan tool. I'm pretty sure OBD11 also will do this feature, but I've never tried it. I don't have an OBD11 to test with. If I had one, I would actually probably do a video on how to do it with an OBD11. But instead we title this "How to Do Your Brake Calipers, How to Retract Your Brake Calipers with VCDS." That's a perfect title, actually. We're gonna run with that. Before I get to it though, I gotta pop this other side off, so just give me a second here. Tell you what, these little caps right here are probably one of the worst. These little star style ones. My method of choice is a hook. Good old fashioned $2.99 Harbor Freight hook set. Hook that sucker in there and just give it a good yank. Looky, there's the wheel block. Get it right behind that lip in there. Get it drop down. There we go, right there. You can usually pop them off without damaging it. Money. All right, now let's play 5-car pickup. Finally got everything all set up, figured out, situated. So before we can go ahead and like rip the rear brakes apart, we got to do a couple things. That one specific thing is, now if you don't have a VCDS or you don't know what VCDS is a OEM level scan tool communications device that not only lets you code the car, but to do basic services, some really technical services. And on older cars, you can even get really clever with some of the things you can do as far as like stuff that's in the car that's not activated, stuff that is in the car that you don't want activated, and things like this that we're getting ready to do right now, where we need to actually retract the brake caliper. If you want a VCDS, jump over to RwdyAudi. This is not an affiliated marketing thing. Like, I don't get paid by them to say this. I just like their product. Now, that said, never used an OBD11, so I don't know what it's like, so I can't speak from it. Find your OBD2 port, it's down underneath there. You just plug it in, turn your car on, open up your VCDS after it's already been installed. You're gonna go in here to select control module, and you are going to find, where is it at? Parking brake, there it is. Okay, you're gonna go down here to 04 where it says basic settings, and this screen's gonna pop up. It says various components of the electrical parking system can be damaged if proper procedures aren't followed. Please read the model specific procedure for this car in the RwdyAudi wiki, and please ensure that the battery charger is connected to the vehicle before proceeding. Battery charger. Yes, my battery charger is extremely excessive, but The reason that you need the battery charger is because the car actually stays on this entire time through this procedure. Not only do we have to retract them, but we also have to tell the car to push them back together. So let's keep going. To do this here, it says click OK, and it's automatically gonna open up this basic settings screen. So you're gonna go over here, click the basic settings, and you're gonna go down to the one that says open rear parking brake prior pad change repair. So click that one. It's gonna say battery charger connected to prevent low voltage. Make sure the parking brake is, and you're gonna start here doing things. Once you hear it and it stops, you know you've done the thing right, and you can move on. It says make sure the electronic parking brake EV is not applied. Check if necessary. See Rostec Wiki factory repair manual for further instructions. Here's my only catch-22 problem. The problem here is that it gives you all that information after the fact. I already knew that my parking brake was down. It's down. You want to make sure that it is cycled through so that you don't have a problem with it. I probably should have shown you. I screwed up and didn't show you. My fault. I just forgot. Right. That said, if you're a manual car, your parking brake will more than likely automatically set in such cases as like that B8A4 up there. It also has electronic parking brake in it. Let's put this thing on the charger. Probably should have already done it. And let's get those back brakes sorted out. All right, now that we got VCDS all squared away, we got the brake calipers retracted properly. For the most part, this is just like any other normal brake job on a car. Couple little tricks that you can do. Your caliper is still gonna be kind of taut. If you wanna put a pry bar right in here, you can actually go ahead and squeeze that down just like that. And that'll go ahead and recollapse the piston back into the caliper. Now, there's a few ways to recompress the caliper. This is just one. It's kind of like a cheaty boy method, but it works very, very well. So in order to get the brake pads out, you're gonna need a 15mm and a 13mm. Your outside caliper bracket bolt is a 13mm, your inside is a 15mm. I'm gonna tell you right now, this 15 has been shaved down quite a bit. Solely so that I can get it in and out easily when it's torqued down. If you ever done this before and you've had problems with it, even on like non-electronic ones, you'll know that you've gotten your wrench stuck probably a time or two. This is my hack of not having to deal with that problem. So, let's get these bolts off. Oops, wrong way. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. And you don't need to unplug anything or do anything special. You can just kind of rotate your caliper off to the side. And this is a great opportunity. Go ahead, pull your caliper pins and just make sure that they're well lubricated. If they're not and they're dry, we definitely want to make sure to re-grease them. These ones got plenty of grease on them, so I'm not gonna worry about them whatsoever. Let's go ahead and check the bottom one. So typically you want to check your caliper slide pins just to make sure that they are well greased. If they are well greased, you can go ahead and put some more on if you want, or you can just shove them back in. These ones look really well. There's plenty of grease down in there, and you really don't want too much because you don't want to have like a bunch of pressure back on them, but you do want them to slide freely. So we're just gonna put these ones back in there. There we go, just like that. We'll take our pads out. 1, 2. There we go. These ones weren't completely toast, but they were definitely starting to see the heat range. The farther your brake pad wears down, the harder it is for it to dissipate the heat because it has less material, which ultimately causes cracking, whether it's in the pad and it breaks down and it chunks off. Not only does a worn down brake pad actually start to squeal, squawk, make noise faster and affect your braking, but as the brake pad wears down, they don't always necessarily wear in flat, right? Prime example of that is this one right here, where you can actually see the brake wear indicator is starting to wear unevenly on one side. And what that tells me is that the brake rotor and the caliper don't squeeze perfectly together, which might be a contestment of a slightly warped rotor, slight imperfection in, you know, the way the caliper is seating. Could be a bent hub, could be a tweaked wheel bearing, could be a lot of things. So that said, this pattern isn't awful. I mean, we're talking about 3/4 thousandths of an inch right down here at this groove versus nothing up here and flush. So I'm not hyper concerned with this rotor being crazy warped or anything out of an abnormal spec. There we go, the words, I found them finally. That said, we do need to put new brake pads on it. So Installation of new brake pads, pretty straightforward. This kit has no hardware, so you don't got to replace any of the clips or anything. If you want to put brake squeak on the back of your pads, you can. Not always necessary. These actually are the CarQuest Golds, and they have a really good brake tab on the back of them, and I've never had a problem with them squealing. So we don't put squeal paste. We don't put any paste on them. We don't put any brake quiet on them. We send them in dry, right? After you get your brakes on, basically just reset your brake caliper in place. You might have to compress it a little bit more if you need to, no big deal. There's a handful of tools that you can do this with. I'm gonna give you a couple of demos real quick of what not to do, because you're gonna break some shit if you do. So one thing you wanna make sure not to do not take your brake caliper and, like traditional days, squeeze your brake caliper closed across here and across here. If you do that, you're 100% going to crack that motor, okay? It doesn't need that kind of force. I told you before I wouldn't show you how to do it with a 12-volt battery, but I will tell you this. If you release your parking brake and drop it, and then you take these two bolts out right here, there's one here, one over there. There's a triple square socket in the back of there. You can back that all the way out and then compress your caliper and it'll work. I'm not gonna say any more about it. I'm just gonna say it can be done. There are videos out there you can watch about it. But if you're one of the cool kids who has VCDS, this is the safe way to do it, and you don't gotta worry about screwing anything up. Frankly, in the automotive world, the less we screw up, the more money we make, because the less we gotta pay to fix out of our own pocket. Now that we've done the sketchy stuff, let's get that thing out of here. We don't want you no more. Let's get this brake caliper back on here. All right, this is basically the general gist of it. So if you're one of those cool kids who decide you want to leave now and get away from the video and think you can do the rest of it all on your own, awesome. If you were able to get the job done and you got to this point, smash that like button. We'll see you in the next one. But if you're the one of those who want to know the rest of how this goes down, then let's get to the next part. We got the wheels on, brakes are on, pads are on. What do you do next? Well, before you jump ahead and like go into your VCDS and you click the button that's right there that says close rear brake calipers, don't do that yet. Before you do that, you need to give your brakes a pump, a single pump, 2 or 3 pumps, and we need to recompress the actual brake caliper, and then we can tell the brake caliper, the emergency parking brake motor, to compress itself back down. So let's do that real fast. It's really simple. All we gotta do, reach in here, give the pedal a couple quick pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll feel it get really, really hard. Go in here, go inside to your VCDS, close rear brake caliper. It goes through a procedure. Basically what it does is it clamps it all the way down, the electric motor's down, and then retracts it to whatever spec it's supposed to be. I think it's like 20 steps in its life, but I don't remember. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me there. But now we're all done. It says click done. Should be able to shut this off. Click done, go back, close your controller, click go back, click exit, shut your laptop, put your car on the ground, and you're done. Now I am gonna say you're gonna wanna, when you go to drive this, you wanna make sure to seat your brakes like every other vehicle, and just go ahead and give them a couple more quick taps on it just to make sure everything's working properly. But overall, that's it, that's all you need to do your rear brakes on your Volkswagen CC or Jetta or Audi or any car that has any VAG product that has electronic parking brake on it. So guys, I hope this video helped you. If it did, make sure to smash the like button. This is all we do every day on this channel, is bring content to you to help you become a better self-taught mechanic, I guess. YouTube mechanic, we call it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. I'm Audi.
Thank you.